What's going on, everybody? My name is Tony, and I want to talk about some instant anxiety killers. So these are going to be used for when you are in the moment and you want to overcome anxiety so you can accomplish your mission. So for these tips right here, these tips are useful for when you're in the moment and you want to overcome anxiety so you can go ahead and do what you have to do. And make sure you're watching all the way to the end, because at the end of this, I want to talk about why it's important to conquer your anxiety. So for a lot of these simple tips that I have on how to instantly kill anxiety, right? These are tips that was very useful for me when I was going through a board where I was winning like a kind of employee of the year kind of thing, right? And so this was really useful for me because I had to deal with like a lot of high ranking people, and I had to sit in the midst of them at any times and answer a whole bunch of questions and show like the utmost professionalism and all that. So this is going to be really good for somebody. First of the tips is you want to cross through that threshold. Right? So think about it like this. You are in your stage room, right? You're a good performer, right? Because you're amazing. You're a good performer, right? And you are nervous because you never performed in front of 20,000 people, right? So you're in your stage room, and right beyond that door, it's that stage. Right beyond that door is that stage where you're about to just turn it down, turn it out. But you're afraid. But once you cross through that door, you know that you will give your best performance you've ever given, right? Sometimes you have to cross through that threshold. Now, this is not for those people who don't have much confidence, but if you at least have a smidge, just a little bit of confidence, then this is for you, right? This tip is going to be very useful for you. Next up is to give yourself a dare. So you need to test yourself because you know who you are. You know who you are. You know what secrets you have, what weaknesses you have, what you can and you can't do. And so I say to give yourself a dare. This is what I like to do a lot. I remember a few weeks ago, I was in a bar and I wanted some footage, some real footage for a B-roll, for a video that I was putting together. It was a video about making value, right? And that video would be somewhere up here, somewhere, right? And so I made that video and I needed that B-roll footage. And I said, you know what? You say you want to make YouTube videos, right? I dare you go and get that footage. I dare you leave with that footage. And I got to admit, I was nervous. But one thing I did not want to do is leave without that footage. So I worked myself up. And I said, you know what? He just dared you, Tony. So you're just not going to do it? And finally, I went to that guy and I said, sir, it's going to sound a little weird, but I need to do this. Can you please let me film you? And I had to tell him the rest, because if I said it just like that, he would be like, well, what do you mean? So in the end, and I told him, like, I put a little spicy on it. I was like, I'll tip you well, please, right? And bartender was able to let me take that B-roll footage, and I had some pretty good footage because I went out on a dare myself, right? And that's how I overcame anxiety for that situation. Another way to overcome anxiety in the moment is to break it down. What I mean by that, right? So me, I'm a simple man, right? And one thing I do in my head a lot, I play like a lot of movie scenes in my head all the time. Always in my head, like just movies going on, scene after scene after scene, right? And it's just going on, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this next. All right, next they're gonna say this, and I'm gonna respond with that, or I'm gonna respond with that, or this and that, right? And next thing you know, I have a whole game plan. So when I was going through my boards, I would do this all the time. I would do it while I was laying down. I would do it while I was going to use the bathroom. Like no matter what, while I was eating, I was just always thinking about these movie scenes to where I would impress people, and I would have like the best version of myself. Right? We're going to talk about that in the next one. And after that, what that did for me, right? It really cured my anxiety in the moment because I knew exactly what I was going to do. I talk more in detail about that in one of my videos on my podcast videos. And I think you guys should check that out so you can get more of an insight. But you must break it down, you must visualize, right? Because that's going to help you a lot. Next up is think about your best self. Think about a moment in your life where you performed the absolute best, where everybody said, man, you killed it. You killed it, right? Think back to that because you want to do that. You want to be that. You want to be that version of yourself when you're dealing with anxiety. What that would do for you, of course, when you're the best version of yourself, you can accomplish anything. You can do anything. You can stand up to anything. So I remember when I was going through these boards, I've been practicing so much at them. I got so good at them. And I won so many different boards because of these, right? So many different interviews because of them. And it was because I had developed the ability to just perform well, to interview well, to maintain my composure and not get rattled and answer things really well. And these guys were really impressed because that was the best version of myself. So when you have that best version of yourself in mind, right, you will be able to accomplish your anxiety or to conquer your anxiety in the moment. Trust me. Like I said, you want to listen to this video all the way to the end because you're going to find out why it's important to conquer your anxiety. Now, here is why you should conquer your anxiety. You should conquer your anxiety because there's always a reward. Always, right? There's always a reward. One of the rewards is you finally get to learn. You get that learning experience. Whereas if you say, oh, no, not me, right? And you stay in the house or you stay away from that challenge, then you don't really learn anything. You don't gain anything. You're just going to have about a lot of what ifs. Another thing is you get to conquer that anxiety. See, conquering anxiety is like standing up to a bully, kicking a bully's ass. That's a good feeling. I hate to say it, but it's a good feeling. I'm not going to promote violence, but listen, leave me alone. Leave me alone. It's a real good feeling, right? Same thing with anxiety. When you take that bully and you say, I'm not no more. Not me. Not me. It's a good feeling, man. It's a really liberating thing. And then next up is, next up, when you conquer that anxiety, you get your expected outcome. That one right there is like money. It's money. It's like winning money, man. It's like winning a lottery. And yes, some of us creators we're not all the same, right? Some of us are going to do more successful than others, right? Some of us are going to win. Some of us are not going to win. Or some of us are quit, right? But if you say, all right, screw this. I'm doing it because I'm doing it. And you win, such a beautiful feeling. Now, I hope that some of these things have helped some people. And if it brings value to you, then I really want you guys to consider subscribing to my page. I do a lot of videos on motivation. I also do a lot of videos on personal and professional development, right? With my own spin to it. Because like I said, I'm a pretty simple man, right? I give really simple. So if you enjoyed this video and you think it brings value to you, please consider subscribing. Me, I give very, very simple tips and very simple advice on how to improve your personal and your professional development. And trust me, you don't want to miss it because it's really useful, man. And make sure that you share it with a friend because don't keep it all to yourself, right? Don't be selfish. And then make sure that you check out another video. Check my video on visualization and also check my other video on value, right? The video where I shot the B-roll. You might get a little inspiration from it. I hope so. But thank you guys all for your time. No further entries this page. Tony Tone out.